Hello, it's me, Sarah, and welcome to the first edition of Sarah by the Fireside.
It's the good life to be free and explore the unknown. Well, just wake up and kiss that good life goodbye.
This is pretty sweet. In tonight's episode, we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects, dreams. What I'd like to do is share with you a few of my most memorable dreams and nightmares. Then, if you can make a video response attached to this video, telling me a few of your most memorable dreams and nightmares, that would be great. But if you don't have a camera, feel free to explain your most memorable dreams or nightmares in the comment section. Immediately, when I began to recall some of my most memorable dreams, 3 of them stood out very prominent in my mind, and I'm going to share those 3 dreams with you tonight. The first dream that I'm going to talk about was very romantic and inspiring. In this first dream, I was Sandra D, and I was 15 years old, and I think the dream dated sometime back in the 1800s because I remember the scenery and stuff around me was very old looking. And I was in London, and I had come there with my parents on business for something. And they were just a couple blocks down the street having dinner with some very important people, and they had dropped me off at this big, elegant ball that was going on. And I had gotten pretty bored just walking back and forth in this room with no one to dance with and no one to talk with, so I decided that I was gonna step outside and take a walk. So I came outside and I was walking down the streets of London, and it was really cool because I could hear my high heels tapping on the cobblestones, and it was very dark outside. It was nighttime, and I was walking down the street just wishing, that I could be anywhere else but where I was. And I looked out ahead of me, and I saw somebody watching me from around this corner behind this building, peeking out and watching me. It was this older man, but I couldn't really make out who it was. And so I got kind of scared, and I turned around to walk away because I was getting freaked out because I was all by myself. And I turned around to walk away, and I thought I heard this man following me. So I looked back, and no one was there. So I just kept going, only a little bit faster now because I was starting to get a little freaked out. And I heard the footsteps again behind me, and I turned around and I saw that man standing there, just, quite a distance away from me, but I knew that he was following me. And so I kept going, trying to mind my own business, and he was walking faster and faster, like he was trying to catch up with me. And so I just took off and started running, which was very, very difficult because I was wearing this really long, beautiful blood red ball gown. And I lifted it up and was running as fast as I could in my heels, trying to get away from this person. And eventually I stopped hearing his footsteps, and I just ran back into the ball. And I was just kind of getting over the shock of being followed. And I went kind of towards the back of the room, past all the dancing people, and was sitting there catching a breath when I noticed the very same man that was following me staring at me from across the room inside the same building that I was in. Only this time, he looked directly at me, and he was very attractive. He had very deep brown eyes, dark brown hair. He was wearing this dark purple suit, and our eyes met, and something kind of funny happened, and he started walking towards me. And the closer that he got to me, the more I began to recognize who it was. And surprise, surprise, that very attractive man stalking me was Bobby Darin. Yeah, I know, the stream's getting good. So, He approached me, and we met in the crowd of people that were dancing, and without a word, he took my hand, and we started dancing, our eyes like never leaving each other the entire time. And after this dance, which seemed to go on forever, when the music stopped, he, somehow got lost in the crowd and disappeared. And I was very upset, and I looked for him a little bit, but I couldn't find him anywhere. So eventually, as time passed, my parents came to get me because the ball was nearing its end, and they were still on business, but they wanted to drop me off at the very luxurious and elegant hotel room that we were staying in at the time. And the hotel room was very, very high up. It was on a very high story. I'm not quite sure how high up it was, but it was up there. And they dropped me off at the hotel room and explained that they were going to be gone for a little while longer on business. And I was like, okay. So they left, and I went into my bedroom, and I was sitting in there. I closed the door. I was sitting on this big purple bed, this big purple round bed, with all the lights off, thinking about that mysterious man that I danced with earlier, and wondering what happened to him, where he went, and what that was, and who he was. And I was just kind of depressed and disappointed that I didn't get to say anything to him. And so just in front of me were two opening windows to a balcony, and I opened them up, and I stepped out onto the balcony, and I was looking down over London, and I felt somebody's presence behind me, and I turned around, and there he was, in all of his, fineness, mega fineness, and he wrapped his arms around my waist, and I started breathing really heavily, and I could just feel like this heat between us, and he whispered something in my ear like, "Do you want to be mine forever, or will you be my bride eternally?" And I just breathlessly sighed yes, and out came his fangs, and I wrapped my arm around his neck and tilted my head like this, and he bit me and started draining my blood because he was a vampire. And then I knew that I was going to be like his forever, and he was going to take me away. And that was the end of the dream. He was still biting me when I woke up. That was definitely a very memorable dream, and I actually began writing a story based on that dream. I can't think of the title of it right now, but it was a very cool dream, and it's definitely one of the first ones that I thought of when I decided to make this video.